Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Resolute here. Man, it's been a long time since I've put anything out, but I couldn't pass up making a reaction and analysis video of Lynds' record-breaking run on the Kraken Berg. He has done it in 58 minutes and 4 seconds. Previous record held by Rubes during a race was 1 hour and 3 minutes. Both of those times are great. Lynds has been putting in the time and effort to do this record run, and I appreciate he let me use his footage for this video. I'm going to try to analyze what he's doing on this lap, kind of giving some pointers to the rest of you that might have trouble on this track, and let's see how we can all get faster by looking at this lap. It's kind of a sad day for me. I didn't think anybody was going to be able to break a 1 hour time on this track. I set out to make it the hardest. It's a hard enduro track. I wanted it to be hard, true to the real Erzbergrodeo. It takes them 2.5 hours to do this, to finish that race when they do finish. So again, kind of sad, but looking towards the future, I just know that I need to make this track a lot harder once the next edition comes out, probably 2022, after the next time they actually run the Erzbergrodeo. We'll see something new. I'll see what I can do, but it's definitely going to have to be harder. I can't have anybody doing sub 1 hour lap times anymore. So anyways, let's get into the video. Hope you guys enjoy it. And thanks again, Lynds, for beating the time and let me use your footage. Let's get to it. All right, let's see what Lynds can do. He took my advice. He is doing this lap hosting from a local race, and what that does, especially this lap is so long, if you get any cut penalties, that would invalidate your lap time. If you do it during a local race or an online race, your lap will still count, and you'll be able to see your even if you get some penalties. So that's a tip for you. If you want to do a record run, do it during a local race. This first section kind of sets the tone for how you're going to do the lap. If you have a good run to CP1, you're probably, like I said, it sets the tone how you're going to feel. If you mess up on these first hills, I would just start over. Now we're going to pause it up here. This is important in any of the big hills on this track, or let's say Screw You on Unadilla, Horsepower Hill at Washougal. You need to line up straight. If you saw there, Lynds was lined up pretty much perpendicular to the hill, the camber of the hill, and that allows you to combat the physics somewhat. This hill right here is a little hard. It has some of these ruts and stuff. It throws your bike a little bit at the top. Generally though, the straighter you are going up a hill relative to the slope of it, the easier it is. This hill can give a little trouble. It gets a little steep right at the end. It throws you, you get weightless. So let off the throttle there and you should be good. So CP1, that was a really fast, good run to it. He made all the hills one time. This drop down, he is going to take a really smooth line through those little low spots, make that corner real fast, and then get onto this straightaway. So if you guys don't know, the Kraken Berg took me about 7 months, pretty much almost full time working on. It was a second job for me, pretty much. 7 months to create. It was my first track. I had to learn everything. TFC gave me a lot of help in the beginning, learning how to do the track making itself, using Blender to create objects. Track making is not easy, and that's why I ended up making the track builder helper after I created this track, to make it easier for me and other people to create some tracks. Right, we're exiting the quarry now, pretty fast, and this is pretty, this timing. I watched Mario Romans and let's see who else, Graham Jarvis's onboard GoPro footage from the 2019 event, and that's what this track is modeled on. We come off into the forest here. This isn't really... Oh, Lynn's having some trouble there. That log catches a lot of people out. Ideally, what you want to do is similar to real life. If you can do it perfect, is just pop a slight wheelie. If you can hit that with your front tire and your back wheel, much safer. It's a little hard to do, but that's the ideal way to get over logs like that. This section here is not really true to real life, except for the ending part. This side of the mountain on this map is not really true to scale. It's a little squished, so I didn't have all the room in the world to do what I wanted and make it like real life. So Lynn's goes on the right line here. That's probably the safer one. I used to always take the left one. I had the little log. The little log's really easy to get over. It could be faster going on that left-hand one over the log, I feel. But again, it might be a little safer to go all the way to the far line. Right, now we're making good progress here. We're 3.5 minutes in. We're up at Wasserleitung, or the water pipes. This is an awesome hill, and this is the line I take all the time. Just a straight shot right up, following those pipes, and get as perpendicular to that hill as you can. You can go on that right side, but that line right there is the fastest. Kind of get a breather here on these dikes that hold back those ponds, the sediment ponds. I'm going to come up down into another little forest section. See what Lynn's does. There's one spot here. We'll see what he does. This gets a little tight in here with all the trees. There's a log coming up. You can actually go around it. Yeah, he hit the left edge of it. That's probably the safest. You actually can go more to the left and miss it totally. Up, and one of those rocks in the creek caught Lynn's out. Flipped him over the bars. And that's, this lap is so long, and there's so many little things like that can catch you out with, the Probozo MX Bikes physics catching you out all the time. But just these little bumps, as long as you can get a good respawn, a good reset, you're good to go. Okay, this little creek section, not really true to life. It's it was a dry creek bed in it. Not as big as rocks as this, but I kind of had to, it forced me, just the game. Oh man, Lynn's is having a little bit of a problem here. And that's interesting. He's crashed a few times already. And yet when we look at a split, when he finally gets the CP9, it's a split that's, over a minute faster than Ruben's split from his fastest time, and probably 2 minutes faster than I've ever done. So very interesting. So got to figure out where he's making up this time. He's actually riding the KTM 500 EXCF made by Geo Panda. So if you guys are using these enduro bikes, or even if you ride the KTMs, the MX ones, Geo did a great job on all those bikes. Give him some love. And it's also running the 6 days livery on it, made by Green Lennox. Also, he puts out a lot of stuff in all these enduro bikes. Give him some love too. Give him a donation. Again, he's made it up all these major hills on the first time, and that's really the key. If you don't make it up one of those hills on the first try, and you're not close enough to the top to push, and you got to go back down, you're gonna waste 20 seconds right there. And if you do that, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, how many times in this one lap, that's 40 kilometers over an hour, that's going to be, lots of minutes added to your time. So right there, you can actually cut in those trees a little bit. There's a little slight gap. Probably wouldn't have gained him much there, but It's an interesting line. Instead of going super straight, he cuts it to the right at the end to try to get a little bit more, you know, not as steep of a drop off of that first gravel pile onto the road. Now we're coming up to CP5. This is a great hill. A lot of people IRL have so much problems with this. This is not as rough as IRL, but you'll see Lynds came in at 4th gear here. He's tractoring this 500, and at the top he just kind of let off the gas. When your front end starts getting a little wobbly, or you think it's gonna get light, just let off the gas a little bit. But yeah, he pretty much just tractored that one up. You don't want to be in a low gear, high RPM when you're at the top of those hills. More than likely you're going to spin out and do the front end wobbles. And coming down CP6, this can be a little tricky, this part right here, just because you're in this little, kind of a little rut right here. It can bounce you around and out. See, Lynds just washed out the front there, a little bit too muted front brake and turning at the same time. Over the little log. Another one, it kicked his rear end and he went straight into that tree. So again, lots of mistakes. So there's still some time to be had in this first section we're seeing so far. So again, I really think he's making up all his time. Like on these sections right here, he's carrying a lot of speed, especially with this 500, the 4-stroke with the traction. Makes it a little bit easier to carry that speed if you can not waste time on these switchbacks also. Just making a lot of fast progress. You can see he's really committed right here. 3rd gear on the gas. That section, it could be a little sketchy trying to keep it on the trail. And this is my personal favorite hill. You're doing a right-hand corner at the same time. You can see you're on a corner, but at the very end he is again perpendicular to the top of that hill. That one is, I love that hill. That's my favorite one without a doubt. Right, we're getting up onto the top of the tunnels. I did experiment when I was creating the track how to make actually drive through the tunnels like they did in the real race. So maybe for the next edition I'll try that again. It was just a little bit too much work for my knowledge at the time. Again, another mistake. He kind of got bounced around there. We're at 10 minutes 30 seconds right now. So the split time he's going for, you know, you want to, for a fast lap, you want to be under 17 minutes to the first split, which is at CP9. This little hill right here is sometimes very tricky. You need to carry a little bit of momentum right there just to make it up that little top. If you get stuck there, it's a little bit off camber, you start sliding off to that right side. It can kind of ruin all your momentum coming up on this side. Now this whole section right here, I'm not totally satisfied with it. I like it, but it's really not as rough and as hard as it was in real life. The pros really struggled. It was really tight, and there was some really steep sections with a whole bunch of rooted out places where they had to they really had to work at getting up the hill with some help. He just kind of sent it off of that gravel pile, and he's really going to send it up this hill. This hill is also very hard. That was really nicely done. It kind of looks like he got lucky there. Sometimes just doing that hill again, that one, it's a really strange angle, and the line to be perpendicular to that hill is a little strange. You're going at an angle, not what you would think. A lot of people have problems with that one. Getting over the logs too, right there, very nice. He took that line right in between on the edge of those logs, very good. A lot of people have trouble, you know, with that one. To me, on this one, I've seen him do it in some of his live streams. He's having trouble with that log. He took the safe route to the right. If you go to the left, though, it's really easy. And if you go to the left right there, you can actually go through that bush and bypass those logs, go right between them. Then we start our switchbacks going down the hill. And looking at Lynn's controller, you can see he taps his, I don't know if he is using combined brakes or most of the time I use combined brakes, but I have, whoa, and he missed that little cut there down the hill. He got a good respawn. But I have my rear brake mapped to one of my shoulder buttons on my controller, and coming down these hills, he is getting so lucky here that the bike is not ghost riding all the way down the hill. And he got a good respawn. Going on these switchbacks on these steep hills, I will most often tap my rear brake, like kind of like an ABS and anti-lock brake system, and just tap it with light pressure on the front combined brakes. Whoa, that was a big slide. Again, it's a sketchy run, but I mean, you got to expect that because he's going flat out. It's just interesting. Okay, we're coming up to the first split here, CP9. This one right here, you could actually kind of double down this. It's a step down. Yeah, he doesn't do it, but you can actually step down to right there. Really fun when you do it. Right, and CP1, or that's CP9, but the first split is, the timing is a little weird. It says a 15:11, but the timer is actually at 14:50 right now, but we'll just say it's 15:11. So that right there, that's like a minute and a half or more off Under Ruin's fastest time previously. And again, I think I've done it maybe at a 17-minute before. So at least a couple minutes faster than I have ever done. You know, Lynds is on the 500 KTM 4-stroke, which a lot of people say is the easiest of the enduro bikes, just because of the traction and the motor on it compared to some of the other enduro bikes. I've usually done all of my speed runs on the 2-strokes, the 300 or the 125 2-stroke. Yeah, it's definitely harder to ride those and get traction up some of the hills, I think. So this 500, it's a good one to do a speed run on. This little hill right here, this one is hard for a lot of people. It's in this little cup. It's in a little cup you can see right there. You have to be kind of perfectly right in the middle, and then right at the end, hopefully you get it. And here we'll see if he does the step up. Yeah, pretty much got the step up. Now in real life, this also was a very difficult hill, so I tried to make it true to real life. A lot of the pro guys, it took them a couple runs to get up here, and even they got to like right here, and you know, they just kind of had to get up the best that they could. I think Mario Roman, it took him 2 tries to get up that one. This one interesting. Yeah, he stays in the path here. This gravel right here is for the prologue. They do race up the mountain for the starting positions. You can actually get on the left hand side of that and get up. And this hill, nicely done. Usually if you have some speed and momentum, it'll just carry you right up that. All right, we're coming up to this hill right here. Kind of, it's hit or miss for me. Sometimes I do good, sometimes I do bad. But again, it has some off camber and it's in that little cup shape. So see, he just tractored it 3, third gear, not on the gas at all. Didn't even get close to spinning the wheel. And once you start spinning that back wheel, that's where you have a little bit of trouble with the front end wobbles coming. Now this next hill is arguably could be the hardest in the game, just because of its off camber. It's called the crossing in real life. Let's see what Lynds if he makes it. He's going to tractor 4th gear. Nicely done. If that kind of made his game, his lap for him right there. If he wouldn't have hit that first time cleaned, he would have had to push from the top, hopefully, if he didn't crash. Now let's see what Lynds does here. Okay, he is doing the straight up line, because I'd seen him on previous laps. He would go to the left on the easy line. I didn't think he might not have known about this line. But yep, he's going up, tractoring 1st gear. He's past that hard rock, and this is that section right there is called Machine in real life. Really cool. Right, now we're heading back up to the top of the mountain. Oh. Decent, not totally a clean run again. And it's tough. I mean, not taking anything away from him. I mean, and again, the thing that's good though is he's making these mistakes, but he's making up the time in other places. He's only having problems really on these trail sections. Some of the logs, he's just getting hung up on that little off camber there. But the important part is he's hitting all of the main sections first try, and that's where all the time is being made, and just carrying speed where he can through these different sections and not letting up. Right, CP12 now. Let's see what line he takes here. There's actually, this is a tip for you. You don't have to stay on the trail here. It's hard to tell because you can't see where the cut lines are, but you can hit that straight up in that gravel section. Because when you take this trail, it's like he had a little bit of trouble there. It was starting to do the death wobble, but he caught it, so that was good. There's a various things you can do right on that little hill though. So if you're not familiar with the enduro bikes, so the KTM, this 500, it kind of tops out there roughly at almost 80 miles per hour, but if you try the gas or the Husky 450s, they kind of annihilate the KTMs. The KTMs are just really slow for some reason. You know, Geo made the dynos, the engines for them, and then the other ones were, you know, kind of a combination from Insane and the OEM bikes. Just a difference in perspective, or how they were built. You know, what specs they were used. Geo did all the work on the OEM KTMs. Now let's see how he does through this. This is a very tight section. IRL, like when I was watching the videos, this was a very tight. They had a lot deeper ruts going down this hill. Kind of hard to do in MX bikes, just with the physics. You know, Mario Roman, he got caught up. His foot peg got caught up on some tree roots in this section. That little section there, you can actually go straight through those trees. There's a line, so you don't have to go on the curvy bit. You can just cut straight through them if you can see the clearing through it. Going back down now, heading our way to CP13. We're now back all the way on the other side of the mountain, you know, from those first checkpoints were. But see, he has good speed. He has good speed on these downhills. Braking where he needs to, but he's under the control, you know, most of the time. All right, there's CP13. We're about halfway through. There's 27-ish and to the finish line. Nice. See, and again, he hit that perpendicular. Even though that was a small hill, you try to hit that at an angle. A lot of times you'll just get the death wobble. This is a very off camber, so you got to just nicely, gently on the throttle. Too much throttle there, you can spin out, go off to the right. Now this section coming up here, it was very difficult in real life. I tried to make it difficult. There's two lines you can take. You see we have the barriers here, the orange fencing. This is the easy line, and see, no problem. He's just gonna tractor it up. That left line looks shorter, and maybe I should have did something on that right side to make it a little harder next time. The left hand side, it looks shorter. It's a straight shot, but it is very difficult, the camber on it. So I probably made it a little too difficult because nobody ever goes on that left line once they've tried it, because you're not getting up most times. I've only done it a couple times maybe. And see, again, another small mistake there. So if we count up all these mistakes through the whole lap, I mean, yeah, you're probably looking at a couple more minutes of improvements on this lap that he could do. You just got to be gentle on these uphills. You start spinning. Best thing you can do is sometimes I would lean forward, just spin the tire if you do get in that situation. Right now we're to come to CP16. This is the first of the rock sections. This is just a warm-up for Carl's dinner. Oh, he's having a little bit of trouble here. Yep, having to push it. You know, again, I did the best I could on these rock gardens when I built the track. Because of the scale of this track and kind of the resolution that I could use with the 4K height map, I couldn't use an 8K height map. It just gave poor performance when I tested it. And again, with the physics, with these rocks, when you create objects in MX bikes, you have really you have an option of what kind of material it is. So these are just, they're called walls. I mean, the same, you know, you define it as a wall object. The problem with the wall objects, they work great when you hit them most of the time, physics wise, but you can't get on top of them. The bike will just fall over, like it loses gravity. And your other option is to make them TRK objects, track objects, and you know, that's like the terrain. But the problem with that is sharp objects, the game doesn't like the physics. When your wheel hits it and it's a sharp transition, it shoots your bike up. Kind of the same problem when you have a really sharp rut and you get over the top of that or fall down on top of the rut, and it'll shoot your bike up and potentially crash the game. Right, so we're now back to the other side. He got through that rock section after his initial trouble pretty good. Heading to the second half really of the course, and most people, they don't make it this far in real life, and that's kind of a thing, you know. It's a game, yeah, you want everybody to be able to enjoy the map you make, but I don't know, I'm of the opinion I want to make this track just as hard. Is he going to do the gap? Ooh, he made the gap. A little bit of a tap there. Right between those two tire walls. Oh, and he was a little too hot in there. But I'm under the impression, I'm in the opinion, I want to make this track as hard as real life. I want barely anybody to be able to beat it. So the next time I create this track, or my next hard enduro track for that matter, I want it to be as hard as real life. Because it shows you, I mean, Lynds is down to a 58. Rubens is fast at all these enduro tracks as well. And even myself, I'm not that good, but I can do all these. And you know, I would consider, you know, of course, Lynds, Ruben, as pros at this game. Myself, I would consider myself probably an Enduro Pro because I can do all these tracks fairly well. But the general person, I don't want them to have an easy time, and I want Lynds and Ruben and myself, SD, those kind of guys to, well, yeah, I forget about. Sorry, since I'm talking about people, you know, we have when we did the Rest Championship, we had Swift LB and Lewis. They were also very fast. Gave Ruben a run for his money a few times. So, you know, there's a handful of people, I think, yeah, Swift LB and Lewis probably, they would have a very good chance of, you know, if they put their mind into it, getting under this, getting under the 1 hour mark as well. This section here, next time, it's not really, it is a little off camber like this, but the trees are kind of incorrect. They were a little bit more kind of small bushes and really small twig branches, I would say, growing, whatever small plants they had growing there. And I kind of didn't talk about why Lynds is just going so fast, but that snow section he went down. Okay, did he learn the line? Why is he going through here? Okay, Lynds, I don't know why you're going through the rocks. This is not the line. You go up against the banner on the left, there's no rocks. See, that's why it's kind of strange. I don't know how he got a record time doing this. See, you just you come in that section right there. You don't go through the rocks, Lynds. Oh, man. Okay, well, he made it up that nice, though. And that is a very tough hill to get. He made it first time, but he could have shaved probably 10 seconds off right there, maybe even more, by avoiding those rocks, just going up in the grass on the left side. And of course, I know not everybody's like me, but I've watched the onboard videos so much making the track. But if you watch the 2019 onboards, you would see the line that those guys are taking, and that's the exact line. That's the exact line that I built into the game. You would go up against that tape in the grass and cut. You wouldn't go in any of those rocks. Right now we're getting close to Carl's dinner. On the brakes, slow down, come down this hill. Now, 2019, when this track was modeled after, so I made the full Carl's dinner. You know, this is just the first section. Then all that stuff on the right-hand side there, you have to go through all that. So over the years, the designer of the Erzbergrodeo, you know, Carl, nicely done. Lynds got through there really nice. You know, just to make it harder for the pro riders in real life over the last, you know, decade have just gotten so good, you know, year after year. Their techniques and everything just have improved. You know, maybe even the tire technology with the mousses and everything. So he's just Lynds is having problems on, he's having problems on the easiest spots. So again, there was 5 seconds right there wasted. But again, Carl has just made the track more difficult every single year. And Carl's dinner has just grown. You know, this whole new section up here, and then zigzagging through the main section twice, and then going down to the bottom section. Not many people make it past Carl's dinner when they do make it there. The guys really that shine. I mean, look at Jarvis, that have a trials background. You know, Johnny Walker, Billy Bolt. He hasn't podiumed yet, but he comes from a trials background. So I'm expecting, and Billy Bolt is doing really good this year in the championship. I think we'll see next time they go to Erzberg how he does, but I'm expecting him to do good. Finally get on the podium. I don't think he's been on the podium at Erzberg, so we'll see. And Lynn's just making his way through these. Oh. Getting caught on these rocks a little bit. Some of these gaps, he's stuck on a rock, but I purposely made some of these sections where you had to jump over those big rocks, because that's what they had to do in the real life race. Since I couldn't make you kind of ride over all of these rocks, I tried to make some of those sections as close as I could to real life, make you have to jump them. But man, when you do jump those rocks, it's just crapshoot sometimes of how it ends up. This hill is so steep coming here. And we're making our way now to Carl's Dinner proper. Just one little forest section. He'll climb up to that arch right there. See what his technique is here. Usually second gear, I haven't ridden the 500 here, but usually second gear, just kind of feather it. He switched up to third because yeah, he kind of spun up a little bit there. Right, he kind of that was a nice hop into the dinner. See, he's taking some chances here, jumping these rocks. You can go up to the top of them. Most of these in Carl's Dinner, I think I made them so there is a line above, kind of blocking your way, so you don't have to jump all of these, but he did really well there. If you have the momentum and you can kind of... This one, let's see what he does. Okay, yep, that's a good one. So let's fast forward a little bit through this section, just because the good times are here is, you know, under 10 minutes. But yeah, let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit. And really the only thing I can really say is, you know, we sped up the footage here, but Lynds is just being really smooth, not going super crazy. You know, just be light on the steering. Try... Your objective in this section of the track is do not get stuck in a rock. So he kind of got stuck on one. He got lucky. He didn't have to hard reset. But these big rocks especially, like if you somehow get stuck in them, it can take multiple hard resets to get out of it. Right here, this is a nice little jump. That's what I always do. And then we'll see here, he goes to the right-hand side. That is the best line to take at the beginning of this switchback. Just hug that tape. But yeah, you do not want to get stuck in rocks in here. The first thing that can happen is you have to hard reset. If you touch your throttle, mess with the steering, try to rock the bike while you're stuck in a rock, the game is likely to crash. So game will crash anyways on this track. In many places I've had it just, you know, on a straightaway crashing. You get stuck in a tree, you hit a rock, game can crash. So again, that's another peril of doing doing these long laps like this for a record, you take the chance of your game crashing. But I always say it's like IRL. Your bike could break. So kind of thanks Pabozo for building a lot of realistic. That's a nice little line right there. Kind of gets stuck right here, but he falls out really nicely. But if you go through that left-hand side, I always, even myself, I built this track. I don't know which lines to take sometimes because I just forget. There's so many rocks here. All right, then you think you're done with the rocks, go through this little forest section down to the bottom layer, and here's a whole another section they threw in. So I don't know, in real life, I hope they take away some of this. It'd be pretty cool. It's just so many rocks, and I mean it takes a long time. There's a nice little jump through. Again, he's getting really lucky, not lucky, he's using skill, but he's not getting stuck in any of these big rocks, and that is the key to making a fast time through Carl's Dinner here. Almost out. And there's Insane yelling. Right. This little section, you've got 3 different paths you can take. They all hook up to the same spot. He took the easy middle one. I think that's probably generally the easiest thing. You're not having to think about turning, and you're on that side of this off camber hill. A couple switchbacks here, and then we're getting to one of the most difficult hills, I would say. It's not like a hill climb, the fast hill climb, but it's just you come out of this low speed corner over here, and it's pretty much just uphill track, super steep. It's probably one of the steepest hills, I think, on the course. You kind of just have to stay in that bottom rut there in the V, kind of just tractor it like he's doing. If you do spin it up, you can just lean forward, and you'll just keep moving forward. Again, you just don't want your front end getting those wobbles. Right there is a little bit, he's fighting it, but it was 500, he's just tractoring it. A little bit off course there, but he's recovered. Right, we're on to CP20. So this is kind of after this checkpoint here, the course doesn't follow the real life 2019 course. What they do after this corner is they would follow this road, and they went off to a ski resort, and they went off, I don't know how many kilometers away, went down that road right there. I just cut it down here because there wasn't enough room to add all that extra to the map. It was just too big already. So I just made him cut down the hill here. And then once they go to the ski area, they do a few roads and trails over there. They come down on this road, and then kind of right here is where you would rejoin. And they went down this hill. And this next section also was a little interesting. So Graham Jarvis, when we get to the bottom, the next checkpoint, he was the only one to get to it, I think. It wasn't marked really clear, and he went looking for it. He just went up random hills. He was asking one of the course marshals, where's the checkpoint, and they couldn't really answer him. So he went up kind of where we're gonna go right now. And I just added this section to add a little bit more mileage to the game, to the track. But Graham Jarvis, he struggled up around here, and he found the checkpoint wherever it was. This again is not realistic at all, this section, to real life. But he found it. Everybody else kind of just bypassed it. So all the time Graham spent, he wasted like 6 minutes finding the checkpoint. Ooh, and that was good over that log. But they gave the other competitors that time, or they gave Graham Jarvis the 6 minutes that he wasted trying to find that checkpoint back. And he was still in the lead when he got to Grunehalla or Green Hill. And there's another mistake. Ugh, those little logs are so bad. I hate them. I don't know why I put them there. I did it to slow people down like that. But I really hate that. I hate that section. And then from here on out, it's kind of a clear fast. I think there's a little log there. We'll see how Lynn's handles this next corner. A little conservative here. Trying to stay on the trail. That's probably good because I don't remember how far the checkpoints extend out. There's about 450 checkpoints on this track. If you stay on the trails, if you stay in the tape, stay within the fences, you should have no problem making the checkpoints at all. You know, I had to have Pobozo. The game used to be limited to 50 checkpoints because it was basically just motocross, right? And supercross that didn't really need that. So he changed that for me. Oh, and that was just an unlucky kick there Lynn's had. It must be that KTM PDS suspension. No linkage. Just kind of bucked him there. This hill right here can give some troubles. So he is third gear, letting off on the throttle because he doesn't want, again, high RPMs usually are not the best when you're on those steep hills. That's where the speed wobbles comes in. So he takes a nice line here to get through those rocks. Now this is green hell. The first year he goes to the left here, which is an okay line. I personally always go on the very right hand side, but he made it up really good there. I think the right hand side is a little bit more consistent for me of making it over that top ledge. Now he's ripping through here. Almost out. And yeah, Green Hell was not having it. It spit him out at the top. So a little bit of time lost there. We're going on, it looks like around 47 minutes. I think that's what the timer says at the top. This section I really like. Just you know, it has some rocks in it, but you're just dodging a few of them. It's not like the other rock gardens. Pretty cool, I think. Nice little line there to avoid some rocks. Again, this one is just being light on your steering. You can't really rush it through these rocks. You just have to pick a line, try to go as straight as possible, and when you need to adjust. Right there, nice little hop. He saw that rock and he just gave it a little blip of the throttle, jumped over that little rock there. That line right there I've never taken. I like it. I'm gonna have to start using that, but that was just a nice, I mean, even if it was a half a second, it was just nice because he didn't have to adjust on the downhill side. He did it on the uphill side, so that was kind of cool. First time I seen that. Right now we're heading towards George Avenue, it's called. This is one of the funnest hills if you can make it up the first time. It's one of the longest, steepest. It has a very short run up. I go to the right hand of that rock. Yeah, so you didn't have to make that swerve. And I get as close to that as I can. Again, you want to be as straight on this hill as you can. And he made it up that first part really nice. And then he screwed up at the top. I don't know how he did that. All right, coming up to the Red Bull Dakar truck again. That was my first big model that I did. I was pretty happy with that. Right, we're making our way to CP24, I think, which is Dynamite. So they call it dynamite because there's some storage sheds down here where they store all of the explosives for the mountain, I guess. I tried to make this section as hard as I could. Obviously when we see Lynds go through it, it needs to be harder. Oh, so he missed a lot of people. Yeah, he always forget that. This little section here too, this forest, it's oh yeah, he had a little problem there. So now this is an interesting line. I don't know what exactly he was doing right there, why he went to the left. It worked out, but he had to push a little bit, but that going on the right hand side straighter is much easier, I think. So I'm not exactly sure. Well, let's see his approach here. He made it through good. I don't know, it's kind of a little lucky to me. If you go more towards the right hand side near those two rocks, but he had a good angle. If you look at his front fender, where it's pointed relative to the slope of the hill. Now this, I don't understand what he's doing. If you go left right there, you turn left, there's an easy line up the left hand side near those banners and the people standing there. It's a straight shot. He's going on the zigzag here. So, and you know, he crashed already and he's having a little problem there. I would say he probably lost maybe 10 seconds there if he would have took that other line. So Lynds, if you're listening, take that other line next time. Give that a try. I did want that section to be harder though. So next time I'm going to see what I can do, but I got to do something to make it harder. This hill right here is, this downhill is the hardest in the game. You got to keep in this little trough, and then there's this right hand kink right at the very bottom if you don't get kicked out. But he did very good there. Nicely done. A little bit of trouble there. He tried to send it, but this is an off camber. He's a little trouble sometimes. He almost made it up all the way just by sending it. This next section coming up through these trees and then this little clear cut area. There's some sharp edges here that can catch you out, especially at the bottom here. There's a left hand turn. We'll see. Yeah, see, his front end took a dip there. He almost lost it. And then what happens here? Oh, he just took a bad hit. Threw him off the bike. But his line here, watch on these logs. When you're coming up to this, yeah, just hit this left one and you'll fly right over that right one. No need to go over the right one, which is a lot bigger. But again, we've seen throughout this whole run is he's had trouble on just small stuff in these forests, hitting some random bumps. All right, now we are to Lazy Noon, CP25. Now this is a really good line right here. But again, look at it's not totally perpendicular because this is all off camber. But this is the ideal way. Listen to his throttle, look at his controller. Hardly any throttle at all because you do not want to spin up the rear tire right there. But he was pointed the best that he could be, I think, relative to the slope on that one. And again, that's the key to any of those hills. He's pretty much home free now. Just heading back down to the arena area. So it's pretty much flat out. Looking at 54 minutes right now. Oh, so he just sent that one. That was, and again, you saw his technique there though, where he landed on the rear wheel first, just like in all the motocross, supercross tracks. If you land on your front wheel first, usually in MX bikes, that's where you get the big bounces. So you want to land on your rear tire. Oh, and he just made the turn here. He's probably looking at the time now. He's at 55. He's thinking he's cutting it close. It's just still very interesting to me. With all the mistakes, all the crashes, that he's still under an hour. So again, I mean, I've made runs, you know, my fastest was a 110. I don't remember crashing on the small things as much. But man, the things just must add up. I'm gonna have to try another speed run sometime with this 500. I'm not gonna get under an hour, I know it. But it's just still very interesting that all the small mistakes, and he's still under an hour. So all the time made up by hitting all the major obstacles first time, not getting caught up in the rocks and Carl's dinner. I think that's the key to why this lap was so fast. And where he can, he's carried a lot of speed. There's no resting anywhere in any of this lap that Lynds has done. Right, now we're coming up to the arena, which would be the actual finish of the real Erzbergrodeo. But because of the way MX Bikes is, I can't do a point-to-point track like a straight rhythm. I just can't make a start and finish in different places. Oh, almost lost it there. So I had to make the track continue back to the start so it makes a full complete loop. That's the only way I could make it work. So I did the best I could. I thought it turned out well though. But I kind of wish it would be. Whoa, he got really lucky on that one. Kind of wish it could have been finished at the arena. Right, we're coming up to the end of this lap, and man, again, I just want to say, you know, shout out to Lynds for being able to beat the 1 hour time. So far, it's the world record. I don't know if anybody is going to put in the time to beat it. Like I said, I think there's a few people that would have a chance at it if they put the time in, especially Ruben, potentially Swift LB, and Lewis if they had the mind to give it a try. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Man, great run, Lynds. Congratulations, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot, and have a good one.